McDivitt is surprised to find that NASA releases only one picture and one still frame of his footage to the public. He maintains the released picture is not what he saw and denies NASA's explanation that the object is simply a reflection on the window. McDivitt believes he may have accidentally photographed a secret defense satellite.
The astronauts themselves are talking about UFOs.
Well, some of them did.
Well,
not very many. Pilots generally will not speak out about UFOs, even though they encounter them on a regular basis. It's taboo. They just won't do it. Their real business is flying in space. They don't want to talk about anything else.
But this is not the only time a Gemini mission will spot something strange. December 1965. Astronauts James Lovell and Frank Borman in the Gemini 7 capsule see a UFO on their second orbit around the Earth. Gemini Control at Cape Kennedy explains it away as the final stage of their Titan rocket. But once again, official mission audio tells a different story.
Gemini 7 here, you want to hear me?
Loud and clear. 7, go ahead.
I'll bogey with 10 o'clock high.
This is Houston. Say again, 7.
So we have a bogey with 10 o'clock high.
But Lovell, Borman's co-pilot, notes that he sees the booster rocket on his side of the craft. According to the official NASA audio transcript of the mission, Lovell says, quote, "I have the booster on my side." Capcom responds, quote, "What direction is it from you?" Lovell reports back, quote, "It's ahead of us at 2 o'clock, slowly tumbling." Later audio shows Capcom convincing Borman and Lovell that this is part of the booster rocket after all. But despite this explanation, NASA rarely addresses this or other early astronaut sightings.
I was told one time by a director that you have to make a decision in what you really want to do. Do you really want to follow UFOs, or do you really want to be in the space program? It wasn't accepted or given as a threat. It was given as more like, this is the way it is. This is life here.
Others who have worked within NASA, like John Schuessler, report that there is an unspoken code of silence on the subject. One woman is willing to break this code, and she claims to have witnessed NASA not just ignoring evidence, but suppressing it.
One of the things that I noticed was a spot. He said, well, we have to airbrush these out.
Since the beginning of NASA's manned space flights, the agency has refused to officially comment on the possibility of UFOs encountered during their missions. But there are a few who've been willing to come forward and talk on the record about NASA and UFOs. The team sends Pat to pick up an inside contact who claims that she has witnessed NASA covering up the existence of UFOs firsthand.
Hi.
Donna Hare claims to have worked at NASA as a subcontractor with security clearance. She has recently gone public with her alleged encounter at the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
I became aware that there were craft at NASA and it's being kept secret, and I had seen pictures in the lab.
The team is aware that Donna's story is a controversial one, but she strongly believes in what she claims to have seen. While at NASA, her work focused on graphic design. During her tenure, she believes she saw someone suppress evidence.
Can you describe what you saw in some detail?
I was working in Building 8, and one of the technicians there was making a mosaic. One of the things that I noticed was a spot.
According to Donna, the technician was making a mosaic map of an undisclosed area. A satellite in orbit was taking numerous pictures of the location and sending them back to Earth so that they could later be put together to form a grid of the entire area. In one of these pictures, Donna claims to have noticed a strange object that seemed out of place.
I said, is that a bubble on the emulsion? He said, no, bubbles on the emulsion don't leave round shadows on the ground. He said, well, we have to airbrush these out before we sell them to the public.
She wondered, was this just protocol to airbrush normal objects or distortions, making the photos more clear, or an attempt to erase errant pictures of UFOs?
They did have a protocol in place, so obviously other things have gone through that they've taken out.
I mean, are we talking about a NASA cover-up here?
Donna's story has never been independently verified. And if this was a UFO airbrushed out of existence, does this mean the entire organization is in on the cover-up?
All of NASA is not covering it up, but I do believe specific people in there are keeping it covered up, which is more scary than a UFO to me.
Did anybody at NASA ever tell you, don't ever talk about UFOs?
There was two gentlemen that did come to my house, and they basically told me it was not a good thing for me to talk about it. Now, they didn't say you're going to die, but I was getting my phone tapped a lot, and I was getting followed.
If it's intimidation, it shouldn't be done. To me, that's completely against the American way of life. We shouldn't be talking about this. I think this is one of the most serious subjects that we're ever going to see.
These allegations of a NASA cover-up are extraordinary, but those who come forward stand by their experiences. The team turns to the history of NASA shuttle encounters in an attempt to find more answers. When the Space Shuttle Columbia launched into space on April 12, 1981, astronauts were spending not hours, but days and later weeks in outer space. It would be logical to expect anomalous sightings to increase as well. That's exactly what happened. As the number of reports from shuttle astronauts increases, NASA continues to search for explanations. Space debris was a common explanation, but NASA soon discovered that the shuttle itself could be having an impact on what astronauts were seeing. The team heads back to California for a first-hand look at an astronaut's point of view. Brick Price has built an exact duplicate of the control room of the space shuttle, which is often used in Hollywood films.
Well, here's the space shuttle. What do you think?
Wow.
The mock-up was constructed from the original shuttle blueprints, so every square inch of it is accurate. Brick has set up a cross-section of the space shuttle's windows and set up a camera to film through them, displaying its point of view on a separate monitor. His experiments will explore a theory of what the astronauts could have seen.
A lot of people who have seen this NASA footage say that these objects flying around are just bits of debris or even chunks of ice that have sort of been chipped off the space shuttle. And is that something that could actually happen?
Sure.